Brett Horrocks, ladies and gentlemen. Brett, have been Jimmy's business partner for a long time now. Kind of behind the scenes, haven't you're not the face of everything, but you do a lot of work in the background. Dude, tell us a little bit about that, how that started, and where it's taken you.
Yeah, dude, I'm very blessed. Obviously, so me and Jimmy started We Are the Day, what, 4 years ago now, which is just wild. It's been a ride. Like we've had, probably over 500 men join the community up in one point or another. And just like the network and relationships alone has just been so crucial. Like even our friendship, right? Like this would have never happened if it wasn't for We Are the Day. But I think I don't try to be on the back end. Like I don't try not to like talk about it or hide it. It's just I think that the way that our roles, kind of went with me and Jimmy of like, hey, you do this side, you do this side. I think it just worked really well. Like there's a lot that goes into a back end of a company like this that I don't think people realize. And I think that we do things a lot more than what people don't realize. Like we have these different groups, like you're in group 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have, 7 different leadership groups. We have our tribe. We do the B1 event. We do Summerfest. And so I think that people don't realize how much back end work really goes into that. But yeah, dude, it's like I said, I'm super grateful. We started it 4 years ago. I don't know if we've even like really talked about the story
How
other
did you
than
get started?
well, like so we shared the story on the documentary of me jumping, but there's like a little bit of a background to it. So me and Jimmy had been working together for 4 or 5 years, doing real estate stuff. Like I was helping him with his real estate coaching. And what happened is he had an idea to go do like a kind of a We Are the Day adventure trips, but with all of his influencer friends. So like he was like, let's go jump. His biggest thing was I'm gonna bungee jump off of a helicopter into a volcano. I'm like, what? All right, that's cool. But I remember like him. I remember where I was driving on the freeway, even when he called me on this idea. Like it's a very, very very visual for me to this day, just because it was so impactful. So he tells me this crazy idea, and I'm like, yes, let's go. This is gonna get sold by bought by Netflix, Amazon. Someone's gonna take this on. Like he's got crazy friends, right? And so our goal was he had his 40th birthday coming up at like basically a month after that call, right? So we were like, hey, let's do this 40th birthday. He had this idea of doing this rope swing with his 40 best friends, and we were going to get content out of it. Like, let's go get content to start promoting this new thing we're going to start launching, right? And when we were down there, it was one of those things. I had always worked or been around Jimmy's friends. Like I felt like I had created a friendship with a lot of them, but like they're like the higher powerful people in Utah, right? And at this point, I'm like a 25-year-old kid who's just trying to figure out my life. Like I'm actually in a very dark spot, but no one knows that. Like you look on the outside, like Brett's got his shit figured out for a 25-year-old, right? It wasn't the case. But I go down there for his 40th birthday, and we do the rope swing, and you jumped, right?
Yeah.
How were you scared?
I mean, yeah, like it's probably one of the scarier like adrenaline things
Yeah.
that you do.
Like I was scared,
Yeah,
more scared than you,
sure.
more
Yeah.
scared than
I just threw a
anyone.
gamer off of it.
No,
Like, I
see,
wasn't
no,
that
no,
scared,
no, no,
like-
no, bro. Like I'm up there. So we get everything down there, right? All the guys are down there. They're about to jump, and it was in a little bit different area than you did it. So we had to like hike down there. I back out. I'm like, I'm gonna go. They're all down there. But if I leave here, there's no way none of them will notice that I'm gone, right? And I start walking back up, and I hear this guy, Travis Prince, Brad. And I look back, I'm like, oh shit, this guy's coming up from behind me. And he catches up to me, and he's like, you're jumping, right? I'm like, no, I'm not jumping. He's like, no, you're jumping. And I'm like, I'm not jumping. He's like, if you want to be one of us, you're jumping. And then Jimmy comes around, he grabs me, he's like, you're jumping no matter what. And you guys, I like tried to talk them out for like 45 minutes. I'm not kidding you. These guys, you'd think it was like, oh yeah, let's go, 5 minute thing. No, I'm like telling like, you guys don't understand. I can't jump. I'm scared of heights. And anyways, they get me to do it. And it was one of the coolest moments of my life. And, I think to tie back to your question, Jimmy watched that moment with Travis Prince, and then he watched me get up to the actual cliff to jump, and he saw all of his friends, and he saw these powerful men like pushing me, like, you got this, and then I jumped and then came up, and like everyone kind of held me up and like chanted for me, and it was one of the coolest moments of my life. Like these are really powerful men, and it just made me feel like one of them, right? But Jimmy, to his credit and his genius, recognized that. I think he recognized that tenfold. Like he saw 50 guys or 40 guys, 41 guys helping this guy get through a major breakthrough that he would have not gone through unless it was for those guys pushing him. And I think, obviously there was other things that happened. Jimmy's talked about, meditations and things that he's done to figure out We Are the They fully. But I do know that moment of him witnessing what those guys did on that swing shaped a lot of We Are the They in his mind and when he was creating it, because it was powerful. Like that moment alone changed my entire life. Like what they didn't understand, and I don't share this too much, but I was going through a lot on that cliff that they didn't know about. Like my freedom was in question. I literally was hiding a massive secret that I didn't want anyone to know that I was going through and trying to work through something. And up until that jump, I didn't have the confidence to get through it myself. I really didn't. Who knows where I'd be, like honestly. But after that jump, I had all the confidence I needed. And I mean, it took like a week for me to solve something that had been going on for 5 years after the jump. So that's kind of what the jump did for me, but how it also started We Are the They.
What do you think the significance of that jump, like metaphorically, does for people?
Yeah, I think Jimmy does a really good job of framing it, of leaving something at the top of the cliff, right? And man, I left up there like basically being scared of my freedom. Like I was like, I don't care. Like I'm going to go handle this problem that I created myself as a man. I'm going to go fix it. I'm going to do whatever I need to fix it. If I lose my freedom, I lose my freedom, right? But before I was just so scared to even take the action to fix it. And so I think that getting up on that cliff and leaving it all on the cliff, like, you do leave it up there. It's still there. That scared Brett that couldn't accomplish anything and couldn't finish things and made a lot of mistakes, he's still up on that cliff, luckily.
Yeah, I think I saw it a ton in my group. I mean, like people just like literally leaving total identities behind on that cliff. And it's just like, it's stepping into a new realm. And I think that's why it's so important. That's like, it is one of the first things that we do, being a part of the group. And it's just stepping into like a new version of yourself. Right. You've talked a lot about like young men struggling with these things, being 25 at the time yourself. What do you think a lot of young men like struggle to bring to light in this new like day and age?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think, we were talking a little bit earlier, and, I work with a lot of young men in my community, luckily through the church, and, I get to see what their struggles are. And it's, you look as an adult when you have actual problems, you're like, wow, I wish I could be a kid again, but you do feel for them. Like these young men have it so tough. The world really just teaches young men to hate themselves right now, especially like the white young male. Like I don't need to get into race or anything like that, but it's just, the world teaches you to hate yourself. And it's so backwards. Like it's just like the weirdest thing to me, because I don't know why we would ever create victims, in the way that we have with some of these young men. And I look at the things that are going on in the US and I'm like, we have designed young men to be weak right now. And, so I look at that and I just feel for him. I made so many mistakes as a young man that cost me so much, right? Like, we were talking before the podcast and, me and my wife found out she was pregnant 2 months into us dating. We did things completely backwards. Like I said, on the jump, my freedom was in question. Like I made a lot of mistakes when I was, 18 to 22. I made so many mistakes. And my entire thing now is if I can just get one young man not to make those same mistakes that I did, I will feel very accomplished, because I just know how much harder my life was. Like I was saying, like I made my life way harder than it needed to be. And I hope I can help at least one young man not go down that same path.
Yeah. In one of your last podcasts, you said, like, if you had to leave a quote with young men, it would be like, take life more serious. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think I was just talking. I had a church lesson yesterday. There were probably 20 young men there. And, I think that it's easy when you're a young man, like a young teenager, especially with them. I live in a good community, right? Every one of those kids is well off, right? They're doing okay is the way I mean it. And I think that they've been given an easier life than other people, that doesn't mean that you need to slack off or that you don't take it more serious, right? Like I try to tell them, like, become a man now so that you're not trying to become a man like I did when you have a wife and a kid and you're 22 and all of these responsibilities. So when I say take life more serious for this young man, I'm just telling you, like, man up, be a man and take responsibility for your own life now so that when you're 22, 30, 45, you don't even have to worry about it.
What do you think being a man looks like right now?
I think that the way that I look at if I'm being a good man is three categories. I look at my relationship with God, like how is it? I look at my relationship with my wife and kids, or loved ones if you don't have a wife and kids, like how are my relationship with my loved ones? And then I look at my relationship with my community. And if all three of those things are going well because of my positive influence, I'm probably doing pretty good as a man. If one of those things are slacking, which at all times there could be one, there's a lot of the times there's an area where I'm doing good in two, but not in one, or doing really good in one, but not in two, right? And I think that being a man, you can just measure yourself off of those things, right? And obviously everyone has their different benchmarks, but those are the three things, like my relationship with God, my relationship with wife and kids, my relationship with my community. If I'm doing well in that and pushing towards those three things, I feel like I'm being a good man.
Yeah, I think some people would maybe say that like financial stability or physical being or like mental health or things like that. But I think you like kind of hit the nail on the coffin with like those three categories of like, when we are the most physically fit, like we probably feel closer to God, we probably feel close, our wife probably feels more attracted to us, or on top of that, like, financial stability, like it's like, it kind of goes in the same way, and like being able to help your community or do other things like that. So I really love that. I think you hit that.
All these young men are told they were bad, or they do bad things. And what
I think that comes from like their parents, comes from like their religion, or what do you think?
I don't think it's parents or religion. I think it's just the way the world is now. Mm-hmm. Like I really do. Like I don't put it on the parents. I don't put anything on religion ever. But I just view that's kind of how the world is right now. But this is what I tell people. Like there's not that many people that are evil. Like usually what you look at, like usually if someone's doing something wrong, they usually are just putting things out of alignment, right? Like usually it's like, okay, they're doing something good and they're focusing on that good thing, but there's something way better that they should be focusing on that they're not. And so I think that we tend to just tell people they're evil and they're bad, or you make all these mistakes. When in reality, we could probably look at it in a different lens and say, okay, what they're doing isn't even bad. It's not a mistake at all. It's just their priorities are not aligned. So let's help them get their priorities aligned. Like, let's help them make the right task steps to get them to be the person they should be versus what they're doing.
Okay. What do you think, how do you think a young man could, like, figure those things out for himself? Like, if they don't have any, like, guidance or mentors in their life or things like that, how do you think they take the steps to, like, being aligned with who they are?
Go get a mentor. No, but for real, though, like, I think a lot of young men are abandoning religion right now. So, like, here's my thing. When I was 17, I left the church, my religion that I was in. But then I came back after that jump and everything, around 22, I went back to the church, right? And one thing, and I'm proud of you for what you've been doing and all the steps you're taking, but I tell people, like, don't abandon religion. And I tell all these young men, don't abandon religion. And I don't think that religion makes you a good person or anything like that. I think that religion gives you a few things. One, it gives you values. And the second thing is it gives you a community that also shares those values. And so no matter what, I think people get too in depth, right? Like when it comes to my religion, I get asked all the time, like, how do you believe this? Like, I don't care. Like, it's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
You could convince me that it's fake. Awesome. I'm here because of my community. And if I go to church and I can make this place a better place and help build my community, that's going to make me a better person and make my life happier. And so I tell these young men, don't abandon religion. Even if you don't believe in it, shape it to make it what you believe. Like, you can make a change. Like, you have the power yourself.
You talked about the shoveling snow story.
Yeah.
Last one. Could you tell them
yeah.
like, what that meant to you and showing back up in the church was?
Yeah, it's crazy. I really was so selfish. Like, I look back at my teenage years and I was the most selfish young man you would have ever met. Like, the world revolved around me. Everything happened because of me or for me or to me. And it was just bad. It was like a really bad mindset, and I kept it on into my adult life. And that's probably why I had a lot of the mistakes that I made, is because I had that ego. I had this sense of like someone I'm not, or sense that no one is, right? Like that's the thing is, but I had that. And I think, the shoveling story in particular, but I went back to the church. And this was like right before we started WAP, but I went back to the church and I had a bishop, right? And it was just a weird moment. It was like right before my life went crumbling down, I met this guy that was the community leader, right? The bishop of the community. He's 27 years old. He's a young guy. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Poor guy. And I'm like, oh man, I think he was in the stake presidency at like 29 or 32. He's wild, but he's a great guy. There's a reason for it, this story, right? But I met him, and then my life comes crumbling down. Like everything, my wife finds out about everything. My business partners find out about everything. This entire lie of life that I was living, I basically was like creating a second life in Chicago, and it all just came out. And it was really hard, right? Like obviously hurting my wife and my son was the hardest things ever, but like it just was hard, right? And so that ego came up, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, are you gonna come to church next week?" I'm like, "Dude, you're a good guy, but I'm not coming to church ever again." Like my life just became hell.
Yeah.
He's like, "Tell me about it." And for some reason, I just opened up to this dude like I've never opened up to anyone, and just told him everything that was going on, every mistake I've made. He probably was on this phone call like, "What the hell did I just get into?" But he's like, "Hey, just trust me." He's like, "I know what you need. You need to get back into service. You need a community." And the first callings he gave me, like the calling to like help the community out in the church, was snow shoveling. And we had a bad winter that year, and I was shoveling so much. I was shoveling so much snow. And I promise you though, I never once got down about it. I never once felt bad about it. The other calling he gave me was in nursery, which is dealing with like the toddlers. It's the worst calling ever, like just being honest. It's the best. Don't get me wrong, it's not the worst. Like it's just a lot of work. It's hard. And like you're going to church, but then you feel like you're kind of like a daycare, right? Yeah. And so a lot of people can be frowned upon that. I loved it. Like I loved it. I showed up every single time to shovel that snow. I showed up every Sunday. The church was at 8 a.m. and we did nursery first. It was hard. I loved it, every single second of it, because it was the first time in my life where I actually was giving back to other people. I like wasn't doing something for me. Like no one knew I was going to be the one shoveling the snow, right? Like before, old Brett would have been like, "I'll go shovel, but make sure the whole ward knows that, give me a shout out to say thank you," And that was just kind of the guy I was. But in that moment, I trusted him, and luckily, like I said, get a mentor. Like he was a mentor for me in that moment. And he was like, "Just trust me, you need service." And it is what I needed. It's all I needed. It's just to finally get out of myself and just serve other people.
What do you think shifted there?
I was at rock bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at rock bottom. Like I literally, I felt like I was going to lose everything. And so like I tell people, like, don't let it get there. Like there's moments where I could have stopped so many times. I had so many moments where I'm like, I should change, right? Yeah. Should have changed. And so I think that, what shifted for me is just sheer rock bottom. I had no other choice. It was like, go shovel the snow or go kill yourself, honestly. It was that bad.
Why do you think it had to get to that point?
I made my life hard. Like I was I hate when someone calls themselves a bad person, because I don't really think people are bad, but I was making extremely bad decisions. I was hurting a lot of people. Like a lot of people trusted me, and I ruined that trust, unfortunately. And it took many, many years to rebuild it and get back and make things right and pay back. And it's just one of those things that, like, you just don't need to make your life hard. Like there was those moments where I could have changed,
I think a lot of people like go into living that double life, whether it's with like pornography or substances or things like that. Like even just those small things are like a gateway into going into like literally living a double life, because you have to keep it from certain people. You can't like, let people know that you're doing these things just because, they wouldn't approve of you or they wouldn't love you or, all these different things. And so like, why do you think people fall into that? Why do you think, and what are the steps to like, to not get to rock bottom before you to have to like come back out of it?
Yeah. You said there's one thing, there's the gatekeepers, right? Or gateways into things, right? Dude, I honestly believe alcohol. Like the one thing I love about the next generation, your generation, you guys say no to alcohol. It's
Yeah, we
hilarious.
do.
It's like you guys just don't care about it. And if you guys choose weed, who cares? Like that's really where I'm at. Alcohol
Yeah.
was so bad.
Yeah.
And I genuinely believe that, like, yeah, it started with that. Like, I don't want people knowing I drink. I don't, and like you start doing that. Like, I don't want people to know I'm on Adderall, and like I don't want people to know. Like, how about just live a life where you're okay with everyone knowing what you're doing?
Yeah.
And that's what I do now. Like, I'm very open. Like, I don't live a perfect life in any way. I make a lot of mistakes, but I'm open with it, and I share my mistakes, and I just don't hide things. There's nothing I do in the dark. Like, there's nothing that there were times where I was hiding pornography, right? I hated that feeling. Like that just feeling after you do it, you just feel just defeated.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never wanted that. And it's just like, I think you can just recognize like there's things that are good for you and things that are not. And how do they really make you feel? And usually if you're doing something in the dark or hidden or you don't want people to know, probably not what you should be doing.
Yeah. No, I think that's one of the biggest things that I've always looked up to Jimmy for. I mean, from the time I met the dude, like, and obviously like living with him for a little bit and everything like that, I was just like this dude is exactly who he says he is all the time.
You lived with him?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Down in Orem?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Vineyard.
That's crazy.
The vineyard house.
That's wild. Yeah, I had no idea. When you said that, I had to pause you. All right, go ahead, my bad.
He let me, I was like the homeless kid on the street. He just like let me go in.
You just moved here?
Yeah. So I moved here, like I was staying in his downtown apartment and then it like got rented out and then he was like, come live with me.
That's awesome.
So he took me in for like a month. But it was just like he literally just did exactly what he said. Like on the outside, like to Instagram, like whatever, like everything Jimmy says he is, like he is, and he just does it. And I think that's like it's so like cool to be able to like look up to somebody like that because I mean so many people like in the group or that come brand new to the group or things like that. Like a lot of people just live double lives. So like it's saying that they're doing one thing but they're really doing another thing. And I think it's cool that. This group like inhibits an environment to where like people can just be themselves. I think that's like it's so important to it. You talked about drinking a little bit, and I think like you said that's like something my generation like really just stays away from. Like I mean, obviously like I have friends that like do it, but I mean they're just college frat kids, you know what I mean? And so, but it's also like a lot of people like choose to just like be sober too, and it's interesting to see that like the next generation is looking at that. But I also like we also look at statistics on like my generation like having sex before marriage and like all these other things, and part of me wonders if it's a social aspect of things that like my generation isn't as social to be able to like go out and do. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
That could be it. I mean, and if that's the case, it's a great thing to be antisocial.
Yeah,
I guess from drinking, but that would make sense, I think, but that's where it starts, but then it's not where it finishes, right? So like with alcohol, I would start, I would go out with friends and we'd drink, right? We'd go to bars, clubs, drink, right? But at the end of it, every single night I was going to bed with 2 shots, of Jägermeister, like for no reason, just to go to bed.
Yeah.
Like that's bizarre. Like I remember I would have my glass and cup and just every night it was a routine. And I think that I wasn't an alcoholic, even though I just said it and you're like, no, that's probably an alcoholic. I really wasn't. That was just like a routine I had, right? And I think that it gets easy to do things, obviously you start with friends, you start clubbing and all that, and then it's easy just to fall into bigger traps, right?
Yeah.
Like it really is. But I do think, your generation, so I'm 30, right? So I'm not too far removed from your generation, and I'm kind of on the middle of like, which one are you? You know what I mean? I think your generation has just been given, bad runs. Like we had so much fun, in school. We were all so social. Like we had so many friends. Like everyone had friends. There was no kids that didn't have friends. And it was just so many of them. Like it was just all from different schools and everything like that. And it is different nowadays. And I think again, the world's just changed it. Like how they do things, how they bring the community together. Like the world is so diversive now, and it's not even political. It's just like not political, it's not race, it's nothing. It's literally we've been just taught to do our own thing and let the other person do their own thing. And that's fine in some sense, but like community is everything.
Yeah.
Like having a community to support you, to build with, to grow with you, that's everything. And obviously having a community to drink with is not. But you
Sure.
know, I hope your generation finds things like we are today. Like
Yeah.
finds things that can just get them friends. Like the best things you were just talking about Jimmy and your relationship and living with him and what you saw. And like for me, Jimmy's been a mentor of mine for 8 years now. Um, he's 14 years older than me. That's what's cool about having a community and people to look up to, and young guys joining WAT like yourself. Like if you're a young guy, 100% you should be in We Are the They. You will feel out of place at first. You're going to be like, wow, these guys are so old talking about problems I don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
how can I even comprehend this? I don't even have kids yet. It's probably a lot of the things that you were saying. But what I learned, because I was in that same thing, I'm like, these guys are messed up. These guys got some problems that I've never even thought of, like, oh crap, I hope I don't do that. And I think that that's the biggest thing for young people and young men specifically is like, get a community like We Are the They, join it, realize that it's probably not going to be your peers or your age group or people around you. But what you need to do is you need to see there's a lot of badass humans. All of them are badass men that have accomplished a lot in life and have also failed a lot in life, and they're willing to share it with you nonstop. They will literally tell you every mistake they've made and tell you every win they made and what they should have done to make the wins faster. And having that as a young man, even if you have that with one guy, 10 guys, 50 guys, that's powerful. And so having friends, having community, that should be the only thing like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old is looking for. Like, let me go find a good group of friends that I can go spend the next 20 years with just growing and grinding together. That's it. And I'm going to go stick with that group.
Absolutely. Now, going back just a little bit, I was blessed. Like growing up, I was from Missouri, and like my friend group's still like super close because we do business together now and things like that. And so it's just like it started to evolve into like the next stages, and like they're my high school buddies, like my childhood friends and things like that. I think that's pretty rare. That like keeping that but the other thing that I see like out here, I'm curious your opinion on this. I know that you didn't go on a mission, and like I didn't either. And obviously, like I don't really have plans to. I feel like my mission is like bigger than going somewhere where I don't know anybody for 2 years, whatever. I think it's amazing that people go on a mission, but I just feel like my mission is bigger than that and things like that. But I wonder what the dynamic of that is with people going on a mission all the time out in Utah. And I feel like they go and like almost lose relationships in a sense. Obviously to come back and build different ones. But I've noticed, like, obviously being 20 out here in Utah, it feels like a lot of relationships that are my age are very transactional, if they're even a thing. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, I mean, obviously not going on a mission and probably seeing the same things that I see. Like, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I had to distance myself. Like I had, you say this carefully, but I had to distance myself from kids my age. When I was 18, 19, I definitely did. I noticed in my particular friend groups that I didn't like what was happening or who I was or what I was becoming. And then nothing about them. Like, I'm still friends with several of them today, and great guys. Like, I think of one, he's got 2 kids, just an amazing dad and father, right? And then I respect the hell out of him. At the time, though, it was probably best for us not to be friends, right? And I think these guys go on missions, and it's so good. Missions are so good, and I'm grateful I didn't serve, because I have a great life. Like, I have literally the dream life with my wife and kids. And if I did a mission, I wouldn't. Who knows what I'd have there, right?
Yeah.
But I think me saying how selfish I was, if I would have gone on a mission, I would have saved myself a lot of heartache, because I would have been in service to other people and, not so selfish, right? But then I feel like a lot of these guys come back as like a holier than thou. And I think that they can tend, I have a lot of young men that are actually returning from missions. I've been in 2 years now. So a lot of these priests are coming back from their missions now. And I can see it even with them. They kind of have this chip on their shoulder, like, I've just accomplished something. I've been in service. I've done a great thing. Don't turn that to be negative about other people, right? Don't turn your experience to be negative about other people. Like, just because you had this experience doesn't mean you can't be friends with the guy that's drinking on Friday night and isn't in church or anything like that. Like, those friends are what's so important right now, because those two are going to learn from each other.
Yeah.
That holier than thou guy is going to go and hang out with his drunk buddy and be like, oh, I'm just a normal dude like this guy. I have temptations too. And then that guy is going to see this guy and be like, holy crap, my friend just came back from 2 years and is a different human. I want to be more like that. And so I think that people tend to just quickly turn off their relationships, turn off their friendships, be very transactional. Transactional relationships never last, ever. Like, if you don't have a genuine connection or a genuine reason to have a relationship with someone, like, it definitely isn't going to last. And so I think that my advice for that, especially with like the missionary, non-missionary, is like, when you come back, like, you want to be friends with those guys still, and they want to be friends with you still.
I think a super easy argument would be like, you're the average of the 5 closest people that you're around, and you want to choose people in your life that are like kind of have the same goals, same aspirations that you do. And so it's like how do you go from that to like still being friends with the person that's like choosing to drink and choosing to do things that you don't align with necessarily?
Yeah, I think so. I'm a big believer in that, because I was a part of like a baseball team. It was 8 of us, and we all made bad decisions together. That's literally it. So I get that, and I believe that to this day, that if I'm in a room of 4 other guys, I'm probably going to be doing something similar to them, right? Or eventually will. I do believe that. I have a friend who he would have been known as like the guy that never get married, right? Sleeps with a lot of girls, has a lot of fun, does his thing, right? He has a serious girlfriend. They're living together. They have a kid. And I got a text from him about a couple months ago. It was like, dude, you were right the entire time. This is the life. Mm-hmm. And so I think of him like, okay, what if I stopped being friends with him because he wasn't living a life that I approve of necessarily, right? Like, what if I would have? Who knows where he would have gone down? But all I did was I just kept showing up and being true to myself of, I will never cheat. I'm going to be loyal. I'm going to be this type of husband, this type of father. And it's not like I was preaching that to him. That's just who I was. Yeah. And he saw that and just thought, maybe that would be a more successful life for me, which it is 100% for anyone. 100%. But, I think that's where it gets a little muggy, and you've got to make those decisions, and you can never let a friendship bring you down, but you shouldn't let a friend go if you can build them up.
So you think it's important to like hold on to the friends that you have?
Yeah, I think, and you don't need to hang out with them. Like, I have so many friends that if you ask them, they're like, Brett's my best friend. When's the last time you hung out with him? Yeah. It's been 5 years. It's like, okay. But I mean, those relationships aren't the best either. Like, you do want to stay close to the ones you love and the ones you should be talking to. But I think that you can have friends that you don't spend time with. You can have friends that are friends from a distance, right? Like, I don't think you should have enemies. And I think that it's easier to create enemies by turning people away than just, keep doing you, but figure out what's best for you. Like, you have to be selfish with your friendships, but you don't have to get rid of them.
One last thing that you talked about in like the previous podcast was that you believe that the church disagrees with 99% of like what you push, but they agree with the 1%. What's that 1%?
Just be a good man.
What's the 99%?
I think, not like your typical Mormon. Like, I'm not, right? Like, I am an active LDS member, and I will be so proud to say that. But I don't believe everything, and I'm not going to sit here and say I do. Like, I'm not going to say that I believe in all of this. Like, my relationships with God and my community, I told you my 3 important things, right? If my relationships with God, that has nothing to do with religion. Like, actually has 0 to do with my religion, in my view. And then my relationship with community, that is it. And so I think the church probably, it's tough because I do some stuff with them still on the side, but so I got to be careful how I say it. But the church is great. The church is great. It doesn't mean it's perfect. And I'm one of the ones that are willing just to call out anything that I see, how I view it, and I could be wrong too. But like, I'm just never gonna change my way because of someone, or change who I am because of a church. Like, I'm the exact same way I am in front of an apostle as I am in front of my young men. Like, I don't care. Like, I've learned that fake lifestyle brings so much stress and drama and just like this feeling that you don't want. And so just be yourself to anyone, and that's kind of my advice with it. But I think that me being myself is probably the 99%.
I love that. Last question. If you were to go back to your 21-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Ah, man, that is tough. I would just say, figure your shit out. I really would. I would look at that kid and say, stop this shit right now, dude. Like, what are you doing? I think that, if we even got into the stuff that I was getting into, it's just so stupid. Like, look back and why? Why would you do that? Why would you risk things for that? Like, I think I would just tell him, like, dude, just look in the mirror. Is this really the path that you want to go down? Do you really want to create this life, or do you want to create a different one? And I think that's probably what I say to him. I just it makes me think. I just went and saw a movie with my family on Friday called Hoppers, and I'll tell you what, the goal used to be like Lambos and whatnot. Now my only goal is like, I just want to go to a random movie on a random weekday with my kids anytime I want. That's my goal, right? Like, my kids are homeschooled, so it's like, oh, this new movie came out. We literally went to, within like a 15-minute decision, we were at the theater at like at 12 o'clock. I'm like, this is the life. This is cool. But we went and saw Hoppers, and the premise is such a good movie. But the premise of it basically was, you can't be mad if you feel like you're a part of something big. And when it comes to we are the they, or community or religion, like, I just was so mad at myself. When I look back at that 21-year-old, like, I was so mad at the world, mad at myself, mad at everyone, blaming everyone for things that didn't even make sense, right? Like, just so angry. Like, if you would have known me back then, you'd be like, that kid was just pissed off all the time, right? And once I got into like the church, or once I got into We Are the Day and found a community and really served that community, like, did my part, not just be in the community, because you have to actually do your part. That's where people get it wrong. They think that just getting into the community doesn't. No, you have to serve, you have to do your part. And once you're in something big, or part of something bigger than yourself, like the movie kind of taught, it's impossible to be mad. Like, it's so hard to be mad, just because there's so much other things that you have to focus on and worry about and deal with. And like, I've got to go, like, I have a text right now. I've got to go teach this guy, minister this guy. Like, it's just like, even that, the fact that I got that text right now, like, it's not about me anymore. And I think that 21-year-old self and the old Brett just lived a life about me. Didn't matter anyone else. And so my advice is get something bigger than yourself, and just don't be about yourself. Like, it's good to be selfish in times, but most of the time, stop.
I love it. I have so much respect for you, everything that you've done with Watt. You've been a mentor to me and to other people in the group so much. Brett Horrocks, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, brother.
No, dude, I want to say something to you. I appreciate you doing this Watt podcast, because people don't realize how hard it is, like, to actually get in here and talk and do these things. Like, it just probably looks like the easiest thing for you, but you do a great job.
Thank you.
And you actually take your time. Like, the questions you've asked these other guests, like, it's cool. So I just want to give you your props too, dude. I'm really proud of you and all the decisions you're making. At 20 years old, keep going, dude.
Trying to figure it out.
No, you figured it out. Keep going.
Thank you.